We are closely watching California tonight, where polls in California remain open for just a few more hours. Voters in California deciding a measure to redraw California's congressional map. A yes vote on Proposition 50 would open the door for Democrats to gain as many as 5 more seats in Congress. In next year's midterms, that would effectively counteract the Republican redistricting that was ordered up by President Trump in Texas, where they are trying to send 5 more Republican members of Congress from Texas next year. Tonight's vote in California is crucial, but by no means does it put an end to this national fight. In addition to Texas, we've got Republicans in Missouri and Ohio and North Carolina all trying to push through new maps that will aim to give their party a leg up in Congress. That, in turn, has triggered more blue states to respond. That's why we are seeing these people lined up in California tonight to vote on Prop 50. But I will tell you, the latest Democratic-controlled state to weigh in on this just today is the great state of Maryland. Democratic Governor Wes Moore of Maryland has announced as of today that his state is going to form a new redistricting advisory commission. According to Governor Moore's office, this bipartisan commission will solicit public feedback from voters. It will ultimately make recommendations to Governor Wes Moore and to Maryland's legislature on how to potentially change, how to improve their congressional map.
Some big news there. And joining us now is Wes Moore, Democratic Governor of Maryland. Welcome.
Good evening. Good evening. It's a great evening.
All right. You're already excited. Happy election evening. Tell us about this effort. Are you trying to Trump-proof any election rigging? And if so, does that mean you have a partisan agenda in this project?
No, it just simply means that I want to make sure that Maryland has fair maps come next November when people vote. And, and just to remind people why we are here, the reason that we are even in this situation is Donald Trump decided that he wanted to try to rig elections because he knew that his policies weren't popular. So he started picking and choosing which states that he thought should go through processes to determine whether or not they had fair maps. And as soon as this happened, I was just very clear that if we were going to have a mid-cycle conversation, national conversation about who has fair maps, that there was no way that Maryland was going to sit on their hands. If you look at the maps that Maryland has assembled right now, the maps that Maryland has assembled right now were put together in days and cut up neighborhoods, cut up jurisdictions. And so the reason that I made this announcement today and where I ordered a governor's redistricting advisory commission is because we are going to have a bipartisan group of leaders who are going to listen to the people of the state of Maryland, because we are just going to ensure that we will have fair maps within our state. And so we can have a situation when people are voting next November that the will, the hopes, and the aspirations of the people of Maryland will be heard after going through a fair process.
I have to interrupt you just for a moment. I'm sorry, Governor Moore. I'm sorry, Ari. We do have a call in Virginia. We have a call in the lieutenant governor's race. NBC News can now project that Ghazala Hashmi, the Democratic candidate for lieutenant governor in Virginia, has prevailed in that race over Republican candidate John Reed. Again, that is a projection statewide for the lieutenant governor's race in Virginia. That means NBC News has now projected both the Virginia governor and Virginia lieutenant governor's races have been won by Democrats. I also need to update our call earlier from the Virginia Attorney General's race. In that case, we do not yet have a call on who is projected to win, but rather than being too early to call, the race for Attorney General in Virginia is now described as too close to call between Democrat Jay Jones and incumbent Republican Jason Miyares. Back to you, Ari.
Really striking there. We're going to obviously get into those results while we appreciate the governor hanging with us. You know what it's like on election nights. You've been in some yourself. So we're balancing. Thanks for staying with us. Go ahead.
You can interrupt me with news like that anytime you want.
Well, it takes us to the next question, which is, you were just talking about the future midterm planning. As for tonight, it is early in the night. But what do you see here for your party? And specifically, are you doing anything different than the Democratic message a year ago tonight?
Well, listen, it's a great night for democracy, and honestly, it really highlights the things that I had heard. I mean, I campaigned hard on behalf of Abigail Spanberger and on behalf of Mikey Sherrill, and whether I was with students over in Blacksburg who are talking about since Donald Trump has been in office that they have seen how their job prospects have now declined, whether I was with veterans in Richmond who are seeing how this federal government shutdown is having a direct impact on veterans because 1 in 4 federal government employees is actually a military veteran. And this shuttering that we are seeing, 30,000 people who are being fired from the VA, it's not just impacting veterans, it's impacting the veterans who are working at the VA. Or whether when I was in New Jersey, in Newark, and with preachers over in Newark campaigning on behalf of Mikey Sherrill, who are seeing how we have an administration who is spending their time and their effort banning books. And so the thing that we are seeing right now, and the thing that I'm really excited about is, our push in Maryland around affordability, our push in Maryland around public safety, that people are seeing that the Democrats, this is a big tent and a big party. And whether it's, our focus that we've had where, we've seen as the Trump administration has tried to ban books in Maryland, I signed legislation banning the banning of books, that we have said that we're going to build more housing and build faster because we've got to increase inventory, or whether I made the large investments in local law enforcement in our state's history, that we're all focused on the same issues, affordability, public safety, and creating opportunity for people, and that this party might have a different ways of being able to get there, but our focus and our North Star stays exactly locked in.
Yeah, and if there's a book ban and you ban the ban, then there's no ban. The bad thing becomes a good thing eventually.
There's no ban.
Then there's no ban.
You ain't doing it in Maryland.
Governor, thank you again for joining us on election night. I know a busy night for everyone. Appreciate it.